No, it is. The boy, you're 47 for a long day, popping off that business AM, popping off as much rugby league information as possible. Right now, continuing on with the first games of every team, every series, you should don't miss any pulverising rugby league information watching this video all the way through to the end as per always. So, going alphabetically into the G's now. So right now we're up to Glebe. So the Glebe Dirty Reds, actually one of the foundation teams. So this one's very, very important. And this one takes a lot of careful explaining too. This is why you need to watch it all the way through to the end. So, April 20, 1908 was the very first game, the very first round, I should say, of Australian Rugby League games. 2 games played at Wentworth Park and 2 played at Birchgrove Oval to kick things off, 1908 round 1. So, at at Birchgrove Oval, I should say, South had beaten North 11-7, the first game ever, and then Balmain had beaten Western Suburbs 24-0. On the same day, over at Wentworth Park, which ended up being Glebe's home ground, Glebe, in their first game ever, got off to the best possible start, and they beat Newcastle Rebels 8 points to 5, before Eastern Suburbs defeated Newtown 32-16. So, every team that participated in the first ever round, I'm going to chuck in all the scores from 1908 round 1, just because it is that important. So, I just said Newcastle Rebels, that Glebe played in round 1, so who on earth are Newcastle Rebels? A lot of Rugby League fans are probably asking, okay, so why we need to explain it. So that's not the Newcastle Knights. Yes, they are from Newcastle, New South Wales too, but they're actually separate from the Newcastle Knights. They were not red and blue like the Knights are. They actually had a red and white horizontal striped jersey, and they were not called the Newcastle Knights, they were called the Newcastle Rebels. And they participated in first grade, 1908 and 1909, the first 2 years only. Before they dropped out, they just weren't happy with it. They just wanted to have their own competition, and they still do. They're still around, like up in Newcastle in all the local competitions these days. But 1908 and 1909, there are only 2 years they participated in first grade, and that's who Glebe, the Dirty Reds, just happened to play in their first game. Glebe Dirty Reds, of course, pretty infamous in rugby league circles again. Don't participate in first grade anymore. They participated the first year, 1908, all the way up to 1929. But they are still around in the lower grades, such as the Ron Massey Cup, and other lower grade competitions in New South Wales these days. So they used to have a really blood red, bright red jersey and white shorts, and that was Glebe, and they played their home games at Wentworth Park. So the first ever game that they played, 1908 round 1. Now that we know who Glebe is and who Newcastle Rebels are, Glebe eventually defeated Newcastle Rebels 8 points to 5. So this was a thriller. This went right down to the wire, which is great to see. Great to see a game go down to the very last few minutes in the very first round of games ever, 1908 round 1. So the venue was Wentworth Park, the referee Tom Costello, the crowd 2,000 people, and the date, like I already said, the 20th of April 1908. So, tries used to be 3 points at the time, which we always need to remember. So Newcastle, they had 1 try and 1 goal through Bill Bailey. He got their 5 points. Whereas Glebe had a try by C. Davis and 1 goal by Peter Moir. So it was 5-all for the Glebe player, Augustus Venice. His name was Augustus Venice, and he will always hold the honour of scoring the match-winning try in Glebe's first ever game. So Augustus Venice will forever be celebrated for winning Glebe their first ever game, with the scores like 5-all against Newcastle Rebels, Augustus getting the match-winning try for Glebe to win 8 points to 5. So that's Glebe's first ever game. But just to put more in, because we've got to put as much information as possible, and since there was only 10 rounds in the first year, 1908, why not just do all of Glebe's scores in 1908? So, Glebe, they got off to the best possible start. So in the 10-round season, they won the first 5 consecutive games before it all went pear-shaped later on in the season. So, Glebe played, incredibly, played the first 6 games of the season all at Wentworth Park. Didn't have to play at the other ground, Birchgrove Oval, to round 7. So, 1908 round 1, Glebe had beaten Newcastle Rebels 8-5 at Wentworth Park. In round 2, they had beaten Newtown Jets 7-2 at Wentworth Park. In round 3, they had beaten Western Suburbs 25 points to 8 at Wentworth Park. In round 4, incredibly, another 7 points to win. Exactly 7-2 again, this time against North at Wentworth Park. And in round 5, a 22 points to 7 win over Cumberland. Cumberland, we already did the video for their first ever game. Cumberland, of course, participated this year, 1908 only. Just to just so people know who are all these teams that I mentioned that you probably haven't heard of. So after Glebe winning their first 5 consecutive games in 1908, unfortunately, in round 6, 1908, they had to go up against the best team, South Sydney, and South Sydney exposed a gigantic chink in their arm, so to speak, and Glebe were absolutely no match, and they were flogged by South Sydney 21 points to 5 at Wentworth Park. So 1908 round 6, South 21, Glebe 5 at Wentworth Park. We managed to steady the ship somewhat. In round 7, they finally got to play at Birchgrove Oval, the other ground, and they beat Balmain comfortably 16 points to 3. And in round 8, back in Wentworth Park, this time Glebe beat Eastern Suburbs 11-5. And that was very impressive because Eastern Suburbs, of course, finished as runners-up in 1908, losing the 1908 final, South 14-12. And then in round 9, 1908 Glebe had the bye, but then, just when it looked like they'd steadied the ship, it went pear-shaped again and the wheels completely fell off, so to speak. In the last regular season round, unbelievably, Glebe had to go to Birchgrove Oval and play Balmain again. Who knows why? They had to play Balmain at the same venue twice, but they did. 1908 round 10, on the eve of the finals, extremely disappointing loss by Glebe, going down to Balmain 10 points to 5 at Birchgrove Oval, 1908 round 10. And that was bitterly disappointing because not only had Glebe beaten Balmain 3 rounds before in round 7, it also just showed that they hadn't fixed the problems that were obviously evident in the round 6 loss to South. And then, at the end of the 1908 regular season, the top 4 teams were going to play the finals. So in first place was South, in second place East, in third place Glebe, and in fourth place Norths. So Glebe ending up with 7 wins, 2 losses, and 1 bye from the 10 rounds, ending up scoring 106 points in attack and conceding only 63 in defence. So, only conceding 7 points per game, which is brilliant. Part of the season was brilliant. The overall for against plus 43. But even with all that, all the brilliant games they did have, they still had to play their bogey team South in the semi-finals because they finished third and South finished first. Glebe had to play South again at Wentworth Park, and just like in round 6, this time again Glebe were no match for South, this time losing to South 16 points to 3. So the 1908 semi-final, South eliminating Glebe 16 points to 3. South went through to the final, Glebe eliminated, and then the other final, second place East defeated fourth place North comfortably 23 points to 10. It ended up at South East grand final 1908, which South won 40 points to 12, but we'll obviously go into that in a lot more detail when we do South's video and the Roosters video for their first ever game, which will obviously be going through all their scores from the first year 1908 as well. And just to jump it in for the record, in the 16 points to 3 loss to South in the 1908 semi-final, South doing it comfortably in workmanlike fashion, putting on 4 tries to Glebe's 1, so definitely deserved the win. South 2 tries by Frank Story, 1 by Jack Coxon, and 1 by Leo Senior, and then Dick Green getting the 2 goals, while for Glebe, a sole unconverted try by the player R. Williams. So there you go. Now, unfortunately, this season here, it's actually how Glebe went for their entire history. Like, they never got the wooden spoon. They were in the comp years 1908 up to 1929, so 22 years. They never once got the wooden spoon, but they never won a comp either. And when they made the finals, they always found a way to choke, especially when they made 2 grand finals, 1911. They had led East before eventually getting overrun to lose 11 points to 8 in the 1911 grand final. And in the 1922 grand final, this time Glebe were demolished by North Sydney, 35 points to 3. And it all started in 1908. Playing well for most of the year, but then finding a way for the ship to go down, so to speak, in the finals. And that's, habit that they obviously never broke out of and never ended up winning a premiership. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching all the way through to the end, and that was a tricky one that needed a lot of thorough explanation. So thank you so much that you didn't miss any imperative rugby league information, and thank you so much for that bone-jarring brutal support. And up next, we've got 2 Gold Coasts. We've got the first incarnation of Gold Coast, when they were called the Gold Coast Giants, entering the comp in 1988. And the next video will be when Gold Coast Titans ran the comp in the year 2007. Your boy all day, DL47, 2-11.